Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Grassroots Racer. First of all, I'd just like to thank everyone for their birthday wishes. I really do appreciate it. And today we raced the Subaru here at Bagshot. Obviously we did pretty well today. Can't complain. I got used to racing with rally tyres for the first time, and yeah, personally I enjoyed myself. But on to tonight's guest, we have Leo Welch joining me. And for those of you who don't know, he used to race ski boat racing. He's not fully retired, as you'll see, but he's still got a lot more in stock. So if you guys want to just sit back, relax, like and share, watch Grassroots Racer. Okay.
Well, Leo, it's great having you on the show tonight. How are you tonight? And can you share with us your journey on how you got involved in motorsport and specifically boat racing?
Ski racing. I'm
ski
good,
racing.
thanks, mate. Yeah, you're right, Anton. Some might call it boat racing, but it's ski racing.
Yeah.
Motorsport has probably been in my family's blood, my father's blood, and I probably inherited that, as did most of my other brothers and sisters. But yeah, we were brought up around motorsport and everything mechanical. So ski racing wise, we social skied when we were kids. Always loved the water, loved the river, loved the lakes. Got involved, really, the ski racing as such, got involved at about the age of 13. Just having go at the Southern 80 as a kid, to have a ski behind Dad's little 6-cylinder mid-mount social boat.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool. And obviously you said it was in your blood, but was there something that inspired you to get involved with racing?
Ski racing or just any racing?
Just racing in general.
Oh, just to love motorsport. So over the journey, we've ski raced and go-karted and speedway and motorcycle enduro racing, all sorts of stuff, but just any motorsport in general. I don't know what it is, just love the thrill, love the adrenaline, I suppose, and there's a lot comes with any sort of form of motorsport, the preparation in, going to the event. So all of that is probably a good outlet and gives you something to focus on other than, your work. But as a kid, I don't know, I was just always loved speed, loves the noise, love all of it.
Yeah, and obviously it's one of the things that it's a passion that you can get from a really young age. But obviously you ski raced for a long time. Can you tell us about your experiences racing the Mistress, which is it's a special name for a special boat. So how'd you come up with the name, and what challenges did you face with the boat?
Well, the first boat, so I ski raced for, I've ski raced for 40, I don't know, 43, 45 years plus, maybe more. I lost count now, but the Mistress really, I suppose, came about. I bought a yellow Everingham. So I'd had a few boats prior to that, but I bought this yellow Everingham, and I just decided to name it the Mistress. And the name came from really I was always out in the shed working and working on the boat, and that was my outlet at night or on weekends. And one night my wife got a phone call of someone, looking for me, and they said, "Oh, where's Leo?" And she just said, "Oh, out in the shed with the Mistress." And that started quite a bit of a rumour monger and a bit of this and a bit of that. And yeah, so I don't know, the Mistress just stuck. We love the name, and I suppose there's a bit of innuendo if you want to look that way, but it's not based upon that. The Mistress, the boat was my mistress, so to speak, I suppose. So that was my outlet and passion. So yeah, so that started probably with the yellow Everingham. I would say I'm not real good with years because I'm that old now. You forget all that stuff. But I think I had the first Black Force was about 12 years ago. So I would have had the yellow Everingham 4 or 5 years prior to that. So probably 16, 18 years ago, really, when I first got the first Mistress. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got quite a journey behind it. And have you faced any challenges with that boat, or was it pretty sweet from the get-go?
Well, that boat was a V driven. It was a 21-foot Everingham. I faced a lot of setup issues originally. The boat maybe wasn't put together. It was already up and running when I bought it, and had quite a few issues with it. And in the end, I took it to Leo Nankers when he was still working out of the shed at the back of his house at the time. Was sort of in that era. And yeah, they sorted it out for me. It basically needed everything: replumbing, new fuel lines, bigger water, bigger oil. They rebuilt the engine and got it super reliable. It was a very, very quick boat for a V drive, but in the end, it was a twin turbo, big block, quite a good engine. But in the end, that boat, we barrel rolled that at Wagga on the Mother's Day weekend, and destroyed it. Nearly destroyed ourselves as well. But really made a mess of that, and that basically wrote that boat off. So that then forced our hand, I suppose, to get another boat. And I tried to actually buy another V-drive Everingham like it. I wouldn't sell it, so I decided to build a Force, and that's where the black boat first started.
Yeah. Well, you've obviously got quite a story with your boats, and you say you've gone back 40 years plus. But, as a grassroots racer, we've all got, like we've mentioned, challenges and stuff. But what are some key lessons that you have learnt throughout your career?
I suppose there's no shortcuts. If you shortcut, it'll just hurt you down the track. So I was pretty big on the preparation, because it's any sort of form of motorsport's quite expensive. So
yeah,
I can't see the point in taking a shortcut in your preparation to go away to a meeting and not get through that meeting through shortcutting on the way through. So and when I say shortcutting, you don't have to. Doesn't mean you've got to buy the most expensive bits, or it's more just the preparation and the time. You just got to put the time in and know your piece of machinery, whatever it is you're racing. If you do the work on it yourself and learn about it, like I'm a carpenter, wooden fingers, not that mechanical, but over the journey, I've learned quite a bit. And in the end, while the Nank Curvis boys did a hell of a lot of work on my boat, especially engine builds and that sort of thing, but I really did all the maintenance on the thing and in the end, you get to know it, so you learn what it's telling you, what's going on. So I think that the biggest thing is preparation is the key to anything, and get a good team of people around you. So good suppliers, good mates that help out on weekends. Obviously, you need family support. You can't do any form of motorsport without the family support. That's where it starts, and then it grows from there.
Yeah, definitely. And, Rowan Nankervis, he would also agree. Preparation's one of his biggest things as well. He says when you go racing, the biggest, I guess, stepping stone that helps you is being prepared.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. You just can't beat it. You shortcut it and you just won't finish the event, and then you get frustrated and a bit demoralised. And it's not just you. When you're racing a team event, it's not... We're not circuit racing with one person in the boat. There's your observer and a couple of skiers and then your crew. So everybody wants to compete well and do well. So just don't shortcut it.
Yeah, and especially if you've got your mates and family involved around, you want to make sure that you're not endangering anyone else, because it's it's a crucial thing to make sure that I'm ready to go out there and risk it, but you don't want anyone else to have an incident.
No. To finish first you must finish. It's the best saying in motorsport, and everyone's heard it, but it's the truest thing. So that's what it's all about.
And, the motorsport community is very close. And, how would you say the community is in ski boat racing?
Water ski racing? Well, it's probably you're right, mate. It's a family. It's very, very similar to nearly every form of motorsport I've been involved with. Family based. It's a very good family orientated sport. A lot of competition, of course, on the water, but then off the water, most people will help. But as you get up the level, so higher up the level you go, the more competition, then probably the less help. You know what I mean? It just gets a bit fixed up. But yeah, it's a pretty big community. But if you broke down in a town and you needed help, if there was a ski racer there, you'd certainly look them up because they'd find a way to get you home.
Yeah. Well, it's very good to have a good community involved around the sport. And with the lows also comes the highs. So do you have some memorable moments or achievements from your racing career that you would like to share with us?
Oh, got lots, I suppose. But both my older son, Jai, he won the Australian titles like in under 10s, like a long time ago. And that was a huge highlight just to win a national title. And then my youngest son, Zach, he won the under 19 boys in the Australian title. So they were certainly highlights. But the winning, I was luckily enough to be involved with a boat called Island Cooler back in 89-90, which was another Nankervis boat. And it was owned by Dennis Rowbottom. I observed in it, and we won lots. We won, Southern 80 back-to-back and Robinvale back-to-back and Mildura back-to-back. So it was, great times and super competitive. But then I suppose the biggest highlight with our boat, well, there's been a couple with the Mistress, really. 2016 Southern 80, winning that outright, that was, a sensational highlight. And then we won the 2018 BHAG with Zach, my youngest son, driving the boat, and I observed in the boat. So that was a fantastic effort. And then we also won unlimited inboard in the Southern 80 in record time with Zach driving as well. So they were definitely, very memorable and always cherish those events.
Yeah, definitely. When you've got memorable moments like that, it's just something you can always sit down and think about. And, it can put a bit of a smile on your face. But can you actually describe, the roles of everyone? Because it takes teamwork to obviously put a good boat on the show. When you've just retired as well, for those who don't know. So when you were running the Mistress not too long ago, what was the roles within the team?
Yeah, well, team manager / trailer driver / coordinator of everything, Paul Westwood, he did a fantastic job. So his role was all of those, basically he would drive the van to the events. We'd all be in it. If it was a really long drive, he and I would share. But other than that, Westy would do the role. And then, so he was your support off the water, really, which is a crucial part because at the end of the day, you got to launch and get these boats in on time and get them out of the water and so you can get your servicing done. And if you break down, which sometimes happens, thankfully not too often, he'll come and pick you up. So that was his role. And then basically I was at the very end there, I was driving at the end. Jamie, so the driver's role is obviously you got to be fairly aggressive to be a driver. So the driver's role is to first you got to finish ideally, but you've got to finish as quick as you can. So you drive as hard as you can, but as safe as you can. So you need to read the water for the skiers because at the end of the day, it's a ski race. You've got to get the skiers home. So yeah, boat driver. Yeah, he has to be aggressive. He also has to drive and with feel. So, and he relies on the observer. So Jamie Oliver was our observer. His role really is he's the eyes and ears of the skiers to control the speed with the driver. So he would read the skiers, whether they're signalling to go faster or slower or just merely through their stance or the way they're going. He could read that and control the speed from there. So yeah, he also you don't look behind when you're driving, so he would tell you if there's another boat passing or anything like that. So especially in a lake race when you're doing multiple laps with multiple boats, you can get quite busy out there. and then the skiers, obviously, well, their role's pretty straightforward, but definitely the most difficult, and that's standing on a race ski, hanging onto a piece of string, and they're super athletes at the super class level. These guys are, you don't go and ski that level without being a super athlete. They're very, very fit, well coordinated, got to be able to read the water well. You don't want to be falling off of those speeds. It's not nice. So so the skiers role is very, very important, but every person in the crew's role is just as equally as important. You can't get home without one. And then obviously the boat's a big. The boat is a huge member of that team. It's got to be able to perform well, be reliable, lay a good wash for the skiers. So that then brings in your mechanics and your boat preparation and all that sort of work, which obviously Nan Curvis did ours forever and were fantastic at it, and couldn't thank them enough. So that's sort of, and then you've got your ground support, your crew, your family, and your friends, and it's just a huge network. Your sponsors then outside of that in the preparation. You can't do this without a bit of assistance unless you're really well funded, and we really were a shoestring budget. We raced by the seat of our pants for the whole time. So we're like many other in motorsport family-based teams, not the most well funded, but certainly well prepared because of the effort we put in. So it's a huge part of it, huge network, the whole team.
Yeah, and it can be like that when you've got good family backing. Motorsports can definitely be a fun thing. And say you do have something unfortunate happen at the track where you need spares, Nan Curvis look after your boat. Are they always there having spares, or what's normally the go?
Well, because I raced for so long, you tend to build up a good stock of spares, I suppose. So the van that we had at the time was a Merc Sprinter van, specially decked out for ski racing. So there wasn't too much that could happen at the track that wasn't in the back of that van. You could fix it, unless it was a major mechanical engine failure. But then if you did that on a Saturday, we were sort of geared up. We had a spare engine at Nan Curvis's that, like one Southern 82 years ago, we basically changed an engine overnight between Saturday and Sunday and raced the next day. So it's a big job to do it. It's not a complete engine, but thereabouts. So but Nan Curvis's would always go to the big major river races. So they're very good to help you. They'd always come and help you service your boat after an event. That's part of their service, which is there's not many boat dealerships or workshops that then follow the team to the track and support them like the Nan Curvis's do. That's just super special.
Nah, they just go because they love the sport. They don't go for their customers.
No, they look at the customers. Without the customers, there's no Nan Curvis. It goes both ways. So they understand that. They're very good people.
They are definitely, and they're some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And I'm not even involved in the boating world, and they're all different in their own way. Leo's really nice, Brad's really nice, so is Rowan. And I actually stood next to your engine not too long ago, and it's huge.
Yeah, I did see that photo actually.
Yeah.
Might have been squatting, were you? But it is. It looks huge, and it was a huge engine, and there's a lot bolted onto that. But the fourth holes are a very deep hole, so once you dropped it in there, it still looked a pretty awesome beast, but it didn't look anywhere near as big as it did out of the boat. But it was certainly a nice piece of equipment. Yeah,
and the Mistress, would you say that was running? Because did you officially sell it yet, or is it still?
I sold it. The Mistress went up to Sydney straight after the Mildura event at Easter. So the Mistress, the van and the boat went up there. So it was a sad day, really. It's like sending a kid off to boarding school. You see it get towed away, but at the end of the day, the time had come, and while sad to see it going, the boys ran it 2 weeks ago, and we're actually more than competitive at an event up at Taree. Just had a little bit of incident. The didn't quite put enough fuel in it to get home, so they'll learn by that mistake. But yeah, it's a beautiful boat to drive, and Daniel, who's bought it, he'll do a terrific job with it. I wouldn't have sold it to anyone that I didn't think could do a good job with it. Like, at the end of the day, it wasn't like just sold to a highest bidder or anything like that. It had to go to a good home.
Almost as if you were giving up an animal because of reasons.
Well, it was like I love my pets. I got border collies, and I rehomed one about 12 months ago, 18 months ago, and it was a very similar. That's just what it felt like. Very similar. It's just a rehoming.
Yeah. And would you say with the Mistress, you felt happy with the progress you'd made with it before you, sold it off?
Oh, 100%. It was a beautiful boat. Always, never ever stopped developing it. Like Rowan he just keeps on. He kept astounding me sometimes, because you'd think this thing, you've got as good, and he'd always be coming up with, I reckon if we just tweak this or do that, it'll give it that improvement. And that's something I never held him back with. If he thought something could do the job, we'd do it. And it never let us down. And they're all the 1%ers you talk about. Well, all them 1%ers 100% add up. And yeah, it's just like anything. Just because you just can't go and buy it off the shelf, put it together, and then just think it's as good as it can be. You can always improve and develop, and that boat was in constant development over the years and never stopped. We just never stopped with it. It was always something. It was just so expensive that it's trouble.
Yeah. From working at Nankervis, I've learnt that boat racing is at least 10 times more expensive than what we do in car racing.
I have to laugh now because I muck around with motorbikes, a little bit of enduro, but I can't say I race. I more say I compete. But it's a bit funny. You just pack one jerry can of fuel and off you go, and you think, my God, I wish I had done this a few years ago. You weren't talking 44s or 380 litres at the Bowser. It was just one jerry can, away you go.
Yeah. So you can use over 300 litres in one weekend?
I used to burn 7 litres a minute. So you do your sums in that. And a minute, a race, a Mildura and those sort of races, 32 minutes or something thereabouts. So 7 litres a minute, and then you warm up, and you warm it, starts up the other end to warm it up and all of that. So you certainly if you're worried about fuel, you don't go ski racing, because it's pretty horrendous.
Yeah, I just did some calculations on the phone, and if it was 32 minutes and you're burning 7 litres, it was 224 litres a race.
Yeah, and that's just for the racing. So then you'd have a 10-minute warm-up prior. At the other end, you'd be idling around for 10 minutes, which you wouldn't be burning 7 litres.
Yeah.
But you would easily burn, it would be nothing to burn 350, 400 litres if you went away for a meeting. Because a lot of the time you got a dash on a Saturday, the dash will be, the qualifying will be on that, and you got to drive out there sometimes. So it'd be nothing to burn 400 litres.
Yeah. And what about sort of Motec, dash and whatever? Did Brad ever upgrade you, or did you keep it real basic?
We stayed real basic, really. It was I'm not sure, it was a race pack, I think it was originally, or dash, and then we just ran Autronic, and Autronic was, I just think Autronic's so user-friendly. So we stuck with the Autronic because I could actually tune it. I would, after an event towards the end there, when I got home, I'd download it, send my laptop on the courier up to Rowan. He would have a look at it, screenshot the fuel page where if he wanted to change anything, and just circle it and tell me to change the numbers to this. And then when it come back, I'd log onto the boat, change the fuel page, and click out of it. It was very simple. It's a very and as you know, by me trying to get this Zoom meeting going, I'm not very IT like very techo, and yeah, they're Autronic. But I do know Daniel is looking to go all Motec and all the rest of it. But it didn't worry me. I sort of knew the boat that well that I didn't need. I didn't look at the dash hardly at the end anyway. I just watched the air fuel ratio and the lambers and that sort of stuff, and never ever had an oil pressure issue in the whole time I ever ran it. So in the end, you get a blasé, I suppose. But why look for something that's not happening?
Yeah. Well, we actually regret what we did with our Formula V. So back in the go-karting days, so long ago, we used to run a phone-sized dash, probably bit smaller than that. It was a square. It did the job. Had a rev counter on it. You could hook up sensors if you wanted to. And we don't even need that many in the Formula V because we're just a Volkswagen. We probably need oil temperature, pressure, fuel temperature and lambda if you really want to. Where we bought this big Ames thing and it's not really worth it. We don't need to use it.
No, you can get yourself buried in technology, I think, sometimes, and I honestly think they get themselves a bit lost. Stick to the basics and don't get too carried away. Keep it simple, and that was always our philosophy. And we always lean towards things that make it go, not make it show. If you know what I mean. So it's more important. Certainly wanted to present it well, but if you could spend $10 on a spark plug compared to $10 on a can of polish, you'd always be buying a spark plug,
Yeah, especially with Rowan, he'd be making you find every nitty gritty thing for an engine.
Definitely a good operator.
Yeah, I love Rowan. He's always trying to help because that's the good thing about it. He will sit there and he'll think about it, and he'll try and think every possible way you can move a bit quicker.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any restrictions in your class?
Well, in the end, speed caps came in, so, and we got nailed with it a lot because the other thing we haven't touched on, and we won't go very far into it, but very political. Ski racing's very political.
Right.
So we got dragged into, instead of racing superclass for a few years, though, because we were changing skiers a bit, and we only changing skiers because they were getting poached with big money offers and stuff. So, and we wouldn't go down that track. So, because we were bringing new skiers in, they kept on making us run in these unlimited classes, but it was just very political. So, unlimited for a while there, you were capped at 115 when superclass could run at 122. So, you're sort of starting the races with your laces tied together.
Yeah.
So the speed caps have come in. So even now, superclass is 120, but unlimited has dropped to 110. So it's a 10 mile an hour difference. So which is quite a lot. But it's changed the way it's racing. Yeah, the only way to get more speed is to carry more momentum more often, more consistently. So your cornering speed is critical.
And towards the end there, what were you running the Mistress in?
Superclass, yeah.
Superclass, okay.
Yeah. We did all right at the end. At the very end, we ran second in this year's Southern 80. We ran third in Robinvale. We ran third in the Dash in Mildura, but then we didn't have a very good race day. Just had a bit of a hiccup going on, so that's all right. But yeah, so we're always competitive. Whenever the Mistress race, it was always competitive. It always kept everyone else honest.
Well, now that you've just retired as a professional water ski racer, how are you staying connected in the motorsport community? And do you plan on still attending races or helping out some younger competitors that are kicking around out there?
Well, basically, what I've done is sold the boat. So just because I've sold the boat doesn't mean I've stopped racing.
Oh, okay.
But I'm certainly aren't looking to jump in any boat or anything. But if there's a team needs to help and I can help them out, especially a local Echuca team, I'd certainly help them out. But from a motorsport perspective, I sort of got into motorcycles a few years back. So done Finke a couple of times, but that only means I'm a bit mad and I'm an old fella that just pushes himself along. But I'm not a racer. I compete, but I don't race, so to speak. So you got to make it. So I was going to go this year, but I actually pulled out. I'm going on a Simpson Desert ride, sort of for 10 days in August. So I'm sort of focused on that from a motorsport perspective at the minute. And I love preparing for that. And I always get fat and overweight, so it makes you train and keep yourself active. So that's all good. But yeah, I do love that. And I compete with my younger brother Terry. He does the motorcycles as well, so it's good. We don't get together very often, so it's a good opportunity to get together.
Yeah, definitely. And to make racing possible, did you ever have any support from sponsorship in your racing career?
Well, Nan Curtis has always looked after me. Like they didn't. They always did the best they could for me. So, which I was always grateful for, because they put a lot of time in. And truly, if they charged me for every hour they spent on it, I wouldn't have been able to afford it. So they certainly looked after me. But I had turbos, GCG turbos were really good supporters of us and looked after us from that perspective. Repco Vichuki used to give us the oil and spark plugs and cleaning gear and all that sort of stuff, which, we're really grateful for. Aeroflow, they looked after us with some fittings and hoses and whatever, and they were already good, always good. Rowan sort of hooked that up for us, but we did, we'd go to a lot of show and shines for car rallies and car events as well, like just display. So we'd always put up their banner and display that for them. And the boys at the Royal Hotel at Echuca, we'd always display their Southern 80 weekends. So, they look after us with the meal and all the rest. But look, nobody ever really, we didn't tip in mega dollars or anything like that. Ned's Whiskey, they were very good. They came on board from 2019, so they were a support, and we promoted their company very well. So yeah, they were good to us. There's probably some I've forgotten over the years, but the later years, all of those groups were very, very good.
Yeah. And I know I asked a little bit earlier, what was your most memorable moment, but have you got something that happened in your career that you're the most proud of? And, I guess it's really had a big effect on you because you've been so proud of it's happened.
It's probably two things. So the 2016 Southern 80 winning that was my older son Jai passed away the year before, had a ski racing accident in 2015 into March. So to win that Southern 80 the very next year with Zach, my youngest son, skiing, that was hugely emotional and hugely rewarding. So that by far was a massive standout. And then following Jai's passing, he died at the Robinvale ski race in the dash on a Saturday. So in unlimited inboard, he was skiing behind a boat called Stalker. So they named it was a memorial event named in his name. So we won that on 3 occasions in unlimited. You had to be in unlimited to do it, and it was sort of the years that they were making us run unlimited. So we sort of weren't that disappointed when we were going to Robinvale because we were always trying to win Jai's trophy. And we won that 3 years. So that was really, really memorable. Yeah, so both of those, hugely emotional and you're very, very proud.
Yeah, and it's obviously not the sorry. It's probably, it's definitely not the best thing to have something so horrible like that happen, and for you to be able to win it with your son Zach, you know, that can be really brilliant. You've obviously done a lot in your motorsport career, and you've seen it all, you've done it all. Is there something that you want to say, or that you'd say to your 15-year-old self?
Yeah, do it all again. You certainly try and take some of the major calamities out of it and stuff, but it was always a dream to do it, and then to actually do it is sort of a bit surreal, I suppose, because I dreamt of it back then. So, yeah, you've got to be pretty happy, really. So, I think I don't know. You could probably change a lot, but I wouldn't change a lot. There wouldn't be, there wouldn't be too much that I would change on the way the motorsport side of it has gone, other than probably try and get better funded, But when you start young family, you're always behind the eight ball. But you need to live your life in reverse. But that never happens. So yeah. I don't think the message wouldn't be much different. Would be probably just go for it.
All right. Well, really appreciate you coming on, sharing your story with the motorsport world who might not know too much about water ski racing, because we do interview a lot of four-wheel guys on here. So yeah, I wish you the best of luck in August. And if you continue to do a bit of bike endurance racing, or if you get back in the boat. So thanks so much for joining me, Leo, and I really appreciate it.
Good on you, mate. Thank you.
And to all the people who are racing this weekend, remember, drive fast and take chances. Safely, of course.